Hello and welcome back to KPVM's Young at Heart. Sitting next to me, you will definitely recognize this man, a very, very familiar face in the town of Pahrump. Bill Kobarger, our town manager.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, wow, you have a very long and successful history as city manager in Carlin, Nevada, again in Lincoln Heights, Ohio. Last 4.5 years here in Pahrump. You've been very, very, very successful as our town manager, and you've done a lot for the community.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Actually, we're the ones that should be thanking you. And this past weekend, wow, what a success. What a success the Fall Festival for 2012 was. And you are to be commended for that. And I know that you're going to talk about all of the people that gave you support as well. So let's start off with something that I've mentioned on the show before, and that a lot of people have heard about but may not know the exact story. The 2012 Fall Festival almost didn't happen.
6.5 weeks ago, there was a private group in town that was running it, and they just said, we're done. They walked away from it. They had only collected 14 vendors at that time, and they just turned around and walked away. And that was on a Monday. We got the word. On Thursday, I sat down with Matt Lewis and Fire Chief Scott Lewis, and we came up with a plan of action to get the Fall Festival done. We called the town board and said, this is going to be on the next agenda. We can't wait until then. We're going to go ahead and do it. We won't spend any money until we get permission, but we're going to go ahead and start the ball rolling. And staff, Carly Yoder, Michael Sullivan, our finance director, Stephanie Massimino, Samantha Carnes, picked up the ball and ran with it like the best running back in the NFL could do. Yeah. And then Rodney Camacho and Debbie Wise joined on board, and then Vern Van Winkle and Karen Jackson jumped on with the parade, and those two took off with the parade. And then Marilyn Dolan and Robert Tibbetts jumped on with the rodeo, and they took off with the rodeo. So we had a lot of people, I say a lot of people, about 10 people that really came together and made a lot of phone calls and beat the bushes and got everybody together to get this done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it kind of branches out. There's you being at the top and 10 people being underneath there, and maybe 5 or 10 people underneath each one of those individuals.
Well, we started with absolutely zero because that private group didn't give us the information we requested when we requested it. They gave it to us about a week later. So we just started going. We took a list of vendors that we had from 3 years prior when we ran the Fall Festival, and the individuals I named previously, along with Vicki Parker and a few other people, started making phone calls. And we ended up with 107 vendors, a total of 145 booths. We did something differently this year. We had both car dealers in town come out and show their wares, so they each brought 4 vehicles out to show.
Nice.
And hopefully they made a few sales. I don't know, I have to check with them. We had some bungees. A lady came out with bungee, and the kids were just loving that. We had another gentleman come out from Logandale area, Moapa Valley, and he did a rock wall and bubbles that floated on the water, and kids got down it and in it and acted like a gerbil. And it was cool because my son was doing it a lot, and I got to know the owner, got to talk to him for 3 days. And on Sunday I just said, you know what, I told Vicki Parker, I was talking, I said, I'm going to go in there and try it.
Oh boy.
And I weighed just a little bit over 200 pounds.
Yeah, a little bit more than one of the kids.
Yeah, so I asked the owner, Brent, and I said, can I do it? And he's like, yeah, you can get in there. So I got in, and some people videotaped it, and so it's probably on YouTube.
Do we have that video here? Roll it.
So I got to run around inside this ball for about 5 minutes, and I'm telling you one thing, that was tiring. I mean, because you're trying to keep your balance. It was a lot of fun, and it was packed.
Yeah.
The carnival was absolutely huge. The kids loved it. There was just a lot of people over there on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday was just packed, and Sunday was a good crowd. And in the rodeo, I believe they had 800 tickets sold on Friday and almost sold out on Saturday. So that was a good showing. We had a lot of sponsorships. again, that K9 and KPVM went out and got, along with Ron Frazier, who put together the magazine with Rhonda's help. All total, it was just a very long weekend of a lot of fun and activity, and we only had a few snafus. Only had a few issues, but mostly it went extremely well, and we got a lot of compliments from vendors who said they're definitely coming back if we run it again.
Excellent. That's good news. And the vendors, how many did you say? 107?
107 vendors and 145 total booths.
107 vendors stepping up it's huge, because it's marketing for their business, and it allows people to show their support for the community. And really, this is and it has always been a community effort.
Well, I was talking to a few of the deputies on Saturday, and about 10 o'clock at night, we figured that from noon to 11 o'clock, there was anywhere from 5,500 to 6,000 people an hour that just continually packed the park all day long.
How does that compare to previous years?
I've only been here 4 years. This is my fourth festival. This seemed to be, on Saturday, the biggest day of any of the four. Now, you would have to go back with the historians. Your next guest could probably tell you different, because he's been here 108 years. I think it's your next guest. I think Roy's your next guest.
Yeah.
So he can speak about that if he thought that Saturday was the largest crowd in a long time.
Yeah.
According to some of the vendors and citizens who have been here, they all came up and said this was huge. And I know a lot of the vendors actually sold out of food on Saturday.
Right. Yep. I heard. Yeah. A couple of people said, "Yeah, we need more ice, we need more water, and
we need more food. We need more food." Nye County Search and Rescue, I believe, ran out of corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Desert Snow ran out of turkey legs.
And those were good too.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
And both taco places that were running, the Mexican Taco and El Churro, were really scrambling. They had to keep running out and getting supplies and bringing it back in. So overall, I thought it was a very good festival for 6.5 weeks of work.
Absolutely.
And the parade
again,
went extremely well.
Yeah.
They had over 60 entries. Karen Jackson and Vern Van Winkle did a phenomenal job putting that together with their staffs. So overall, I'm happy. I didn't mind putting in 59 and a half hours, as you and I just discovered. I didn't think I worked that long, but we counted it up, and wow.
That's a lot of hours, and you'll notice that probably all of the guests here on today's show are going to have great tans, simply because of how many hours were spent outside, and dry throats, and all of that.
Well, Matt Lewis and his Buildings and Grounds crew were just incredible. They were there a lot. They spent a lot of time there. And I mean, Stephanie Massimino and Samantha Carnes, who worked for me directly, spent a ton of hours there on Thursday and Friday, and then they were supposed to be off on Saturday and Sunday.
Weren't.
And they probably put in 3 or 4 hours each day doing little things that I asked them to do, and even though they didn't have to do it, they said, "No problem, Bill, let's go get it done." Carla Yoder was a champion. She was there a lot until midnight, picking up the money, counting the money at the beer booths and the rodeo. So thank you, Carla. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Samantha. And again, Matt and his guys. It was just it was great teamwork.
A great success. So next year, what do you think about next year?
I'm going to let the town board decide that in the next 30 to 45 days. It's going to be on the agenda. I don't know if it's going to be on the October 9th agenda or the October 23rd. I'm personally not going to be there on the October 9th one. I have a training to go to. So I don't know if the town board's going to want me there when they discuss it. They're very capable of making all the decisions. They don't need me. I just put all the paperwork together and sit there and smile and I answer questions.
Right.
They make the decisions, and in my opinion, they've been making some really good decisions.
Things are looking up in this town. Absolutely.
I think the town board's doing a great job. The electeds are really doing a great job.
Yep, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Bill, we have just a couple of seconds
All
left. So if people want to call you and congratulate you.
775-727-5107. And you don't want to call and congratulate me. You want to call in Stephanie at extension 307, Samantha at extension 301, and Carla at extension 304. Call them and congratulate them. they did 99.9% of the work.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill, for being on the show.
Thank
and
you.
We will be right back.